Hello, my lovelies. I'm Junie O, the author with no last name, and it is time for the June Library Haul. And this month's theme is dragons. So I actually had 6 dragon books on order, and 2 of them haven't come in yet, and it's the 20th of the month. I mean, I ordered some on like the 1st and got them on the 4th. So next month might also be dragon books. So before we get it, because there's only 4 to go over, before we get into the ones I got from the library, let's go over some of the books I already have in my collection that feature dragons that I really like, that have gotten me into the whole dragon thing. Obviously, back here we have The Hobbit. My 3rd grade teacher read us The Hobbit during lunch, and of course Smaug was just so, typical dragon, very capturing of the imagination when you're a child. And then during high school, I got into Pern. Now this is the only Pern book I still have left, but it has a dragon on the cover, so good. I got into Anne McCaffrey's Pern, and it's kind of amazing, even that these are more of a science fantasy. It doesn't come out until like the 3rd book that we're talking science fiction here. How these have kind of defined the dragon genre, so to speak. But Anne McCaffrey's Pern was really, when I was in high school and a lot of what was going on in the books really did go over my head. And now that I'm older and a little bit more educated about such things, it's like, holy crap. Really good. I wish somebody would rewrite it so it's not quite as, or write something similar, not rewrite this, but write something similar with some sort of similar type of world building that's not quite as awful and abusive. Let's call a spade here. And then also in high school, I really loved the 1980s movie Willow. And you're going, how did Willow have dragons in it? Well, it didn't have dragons in it until Chris Claremont and George Lucas together, probably more Claremont than Lucas to be honest, wrote a trilogy of books set after the Willow movie that deal with Elora Danan and what Elora Danan is supposed to do. And yes, it involves a dragon somehow. And I'm not going to tell you how because I'm not going to spoil it. But if you have not read, if you loved Willow and you're like, either on the fence about the TV show or like the TV show, I strongly recommend seeing if you can find the Shadow Trilogy to learn about what George Lucas's original ideas for Elora Danan were. Okay? And yes, it takes a while to get to the dragon, but there is a dragon. And then, let's see. I don't remember, I think these came out in college. Mercedes Lackey's 500 Kingdoms. This is the book where you first meet the dragons, and their little society, the concept of bookworms. I really like the concept of the bookworm. I think I have absconded with it for a couple ideas. And these are fairy tales. These are kind of, this one's a little bit more mashed together, but this is Andromeda and Cassiopeia with the idea of Andromeda's being sacrificed to a dragon rather than to the sea monster. And, so 500 Kingdoms, fairy tale kind of retelling with dragons, or at least a Greek legend type of retelling. Some people might think it's like, oh, how inappropriate, but I think it's fun. This is actually one of my favorite in that series. The dragons do show up again a lot. Like, they show back up again, especially in The Sleeping Beauty, which is one of my favorites. The Sleeping Beauty was the inspiration for my own Dawn Warriors. So, okay. And then the last book I've got is Joust, which also came out during when I was in college. And this is Mercedes Lackey's Egyptian take on dragons. And I really want to see this as a movie or a show. Somebody, please. Boy is a kind of like, he's a serf, he's not a slave, he's a serf, and he's taken to be a dragon boy, and his master actually raised his own dragon from the egg, so he seeks to emulate his master, and he raises his own dragon from the egg, and, you know, has to escape in thrilling adventure. And it's a quadrilogy, there's 4 books. Some of the stuff, some of the details that she put in like the 2nd and 3rd book, she never actually dealt with in the 4th book, so I was like, I really wish there was a 5th book to deal with the fact that he probably has magic too, but I don't know if she just didn't have an idea for it, or if she liked the happy for now that she left on the 4th book. And then it fell on the floor, so excuse me. And of course, this came out, I think, when I was in college too. How to Train Your Dragon, the movie. This is really good, really genre defining for dragons type of thing. Really creative and imaginative with all the different dragon ideas, you know, and the dragon types. I strongly recommend watching the TV show that's set between the 1st movie and the 2nd movie, because it takes like 6 seasons to get there, but the villain reveal is amazing. Like, the story, I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but the villain reveal is, I was watching it, and like, this is really typical kid stuff, really good kid stuff, well-written kid stuff. And then we got to season 6, and there was a villain reveal, and I was like, oh my god, that is so great. Good job. I am impressed. So the writing team behind the TV show was really, really good. So, and I know there's a lot of people who also like the books for the kids. There's that too, if you like that. But if these are things that are already in my collection, so I can't get them from the library, but I want to share them with you, because if you like dragon books, you might like those dragon books. And of course, if you like dragon books, you might like my book, the Dawn trilogy here. They're mixed up fairy tale adventure type things. And the princess is a Sleeping Beauty, and her sidekick, a Sleeping Beauty that wields a sword. Let's be clear. And her sidekick is a teenage dragon, and they're really fun. Or at least I think they're really fun. I had a lot of fun writing them, and you know, they are actually available on Amazon. So if you are a little worried, go read the look inside of the first 50 pages or so on Amazon, and you don't want to take the risk of buying them, you know, go down to your local library and request it. They will buy books if you request them, okay? So, and, you know, tell me if you do. I'd be really chuffed if, you know, you were like, oh my god, you know, I got your books into my local library. That is, you know, that'd be so amazing to me. I mean, I'm chuffed if you buy it anyway, but if you buy it for your local library, even better. Okay, so there are 4 books that actually came. So, okay, so the top book here is called Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Now, as far as I can tell, there is no dragon in this yet. It might come in a later book. But there is a dragon on the cover. So, pseudo-false advertising. This is a Norse-inspired epic fantasy. It has 3 main characters, and you might know there is a kind of a Norse-inspired young adult type fantasy by the same guy who did The Ranger's Apprentice. You know, they form a thrall, and, you know, they're a bunch of young men on creating a group of warriors, whatever, Viking type of inspired culture. So this is also Norse inspired. Lots of bashing of heads, from what I read. There are 3 people. The gods might be coming back or something. I don't know. From what I could tell, nothing was revealed in this book. And the 3 characters, none of them got together in this book either to form a party. So if you like 3 different main viewpoints and you really like epic fantasy where it's really, really slow, you might like this. The characters just weren't interesting enough for me to keep going. I'm sorry. Usually I don't tell you what happens, but normally, you know, it's not been, this is due in 5 days, so, you know, I gotta get this done. Alright, the second book is Evan Winter's The Rage of Dragons. So, young man, his family is killed, he's going to become the best swordsman ever and take revenge, or the things he loves are killed. I wasn't quite sure. We didn't get there in the first 50 pages, so I lost interest. If you like the Red Rising series, which I think is by Pierce Brown, you might like this, because it is pretty much the exact same type of story, with the exact same type of main character. Evan, and this is also African fantasy. So if you like African fantasy and you like the Red Rising series, you might like this. Just saying. So now for the two I haven't gotten to yet. So the next one is Tessa Grattan and Justina Ireland, Chaos in Flame, and this is okay, yeah, so this one might be defined as romantasy, but the House of the Dragon has killed this girl's family, and she's decided she's going to take revenge, except, you know, there's the second in command is really worried about his regent, and they're falling in love type of thing. So supposedly a romance plotline in here somewhere, I guess. So I don't know if there's a dragon or not yet, but we're going to find out if there are actual dragons, because she is House of Kraken and he is House of Dragon, and so we're gonna find, and you know, there was a dragon on the cover, I guess, somewhere. And this one is called Dragon Fall by L.R. Lamb. Here we go, down at the bottom. And it's a thief, always a good beginning. A thief steals a powerful artifact that can bring dragons over from where they've been exiled, banished on the other side of this veil. And the dragon she can bring over has been prophesied to, like, bring power back to his people, and apparently they might have to, like, merge their bodies or something. I don't know. We'll see. And so I don't know if this is a duology or what. I guess there might be a little bit of romance between the thief and the dragon too, because he's hiding out as a human. I'm not sure. So, Dragonfall, hello, Lamb. I don't have any recommendations on what this is like because I haven't read it yet, but those two are the next two I plan on getting to. So, once again, this was the June library haul, where I talk about books that you can get from your local library instead of try them out for free, instead of trotting down to your local bookstore and buying them for money and not being sure whether you like them or not. But please support your local library. You can support your local library by, you know, basically going down there and using it. It's very, very simple. Your library will, if you don't want hardcover or softcover books that you can hold in your hands, most libraries have an ebook service, Hoopla or Libby or Hoopla Libby, whatever they are now. They can get you movies if you like physical movies and you don't want to pirate them, or you don't have Netflix or whatever. So there's a wide range of services down at the library that are just free to take advantage of. Come on, if your library is supported by your local taxes, you're paying for it, you might as well use it. So, because two of my books didn't come, one is coming through WorldCat, which I will explain when it does come, and the second one is apparently out. It's at it belongs to, like, the big library over the hill, and it was due back on the 8th, and it hasn't returned yet, so I haven't gotten it yet. So next month I will see. I'll probably within the next week order a bunch of more, like 3 or 4 more dragon books, because I'll be taking those back, and you know, I won't have hit my limit. And order those as well. So next month will also be a dragon month. What do you think? And I also want to remind you that not only does your library have fiction books, it has nonfiction books. So, you know, some libraries have research stuff. So I saw a couple videos about this book. It's called The Deficit Myth by Stephanie Kelton. She was on, like, the Colbert, not the Colbert Show, the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. and there was a couple other videos, and it's just talking about our modern economy, and I was just kind of like, that sounds actually kind of interesting. I want to hear what she has to say about it. Wasn't quite sure I understood what was going on, what she was talking about from the videos, so my ADHD brain was like, that sounds like something we should learn about that we'll never use, but you know, why not? So you can find books like The Deficit Myth and other type of, books at your local library. My dad just like had in his little private library. He has a book about a woman who rode a motorcycle around the world, and he's like, "Do you want to read this?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" All right. So take care of yourselves, my lovelies. Stay safe, bless, and I'll see you in the next video.